Hey guys, my name is Camille and these are my top 5 contemporary book recommendations. So my number 1 contemporary recommendation is Belle by Rachel Hawkins. This book is so good. It is a contemporary. This girl is about a girl who is the perfect Southern belle. She is involved in everything. She is the president of all her clubs and she wears her pearls and she's homecoming queen and things like that. However, then things start to take a turn as she learns that she's a paladin, which is a sort of magical protector for the oracle, which only comes around every so often. And it is her duty to guard the oracle, who just so happens to be her most hated longtime enemy, David Stark. It is so good. It's one of my absolute favorites. It is so good to get out of a reading slump. That's what I read it for, and it made me laugh. It had some romance. It is fantastic. Don't be dispelled by the cover or the title, because these things aren't really a big part in it. It looks really kind of cutesy girly, but it's really nice. The main character, Harper, is so like kick butt, and she is just so much fun to read from, and she's so witty and fun, and I definitely recommend this book. The next book I recommend is The Art of Wishing by Lindsay Riber. Lindsay Riber is a newer author. This is a contemporary, but also more of a kind of a fantasy. There's a second book coming out. I believe it's meant to be a trilogy. It is so good. I read this about a year ago-ish, came out last year, and it is one of my favorite books that I read last year. It is about a girl who meets a genie and he grants her 3 wishes, except it gets a little bit more twisted as she begins to delve more into this. At first she doesn't believe it, but then they kind of fall in love, and it's really good. It is a little bit more fantasy, contemporary, but that's okay. This is a really good book. The little tagline is, he can grant all her wishes, but only she can save his life. And it kind of plays off that I'll set you free genie kind of thing, except it's a little bit more intense, and there's kind of some action scenes, so it's really good. This is a lesser known book, which is why I picked it to showcase to you guys. If you follow Lindsay Riber on Twitter, I'll put her Twitter handle right here. She's really, really nice. She's also, I think, a publishing agent, but when I tweeted her telling her how much I love this book, she tweeted me back and even followed me, so such a good book, such a nice author who really cares about her readers. So next we have Rainbow Rowell's Eleanor and Park. I love this book. It is the classic story, a love story. It is about 2 misfits falling in love. I found this book, I'd like to say I'm a hipster Eleanor and Park fan, because I actually was with my friends. We went downtown to kind of like the more upscale area, and we went to a Barnes & Noble and we saw this on display probably just maybe a week after it had been released, and we're like, wow, that looks so good. So we put it on hold at the library and I read it, and it was so good, and my friend read it and then we returned it, and then all of a sudden it started popping up in everyone's booktube videos, and I was like, I know about that first. But it is so good. It's such a touching story, and it's something that everyone can relate to, honestly. Even if you've never been bullied, or if you've never been in some of the circumstances that these characters have, it's so easy to relate to. These characters feel so real. Major props to Rainbow Rowell for this book. This is such a masterpiece. It's just so real and so true to life, which is why I love it. Kind of going along with it is Fangirl. Also real, also heartbreaking and touching, and so just you have to read Rainbow Rowell. I don't have Fangirl with me right now because my friend is currently reading it. However, I would definitely recommend Eleanor and Park and Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Next we have My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick. I'd also like to call myself a hipster My Life Next Door fan, simply because I went to Barnes & Noble one day right after I had watched X-Teen May, Christine Pull Money on Books do it and review it, and I thought it was really interesting. However, I didn't watch the spoiler section, so I didn't really know what it was about. So I went to Barnes & Noble and kind of read about, I think, probably 50 or 60 pages of it. Didn't end up picking it up just because I wasn't there to buy anything, and I just kind of wanted to check it out. But then I found it in half-price books, and I was like, oh, I have to pick it up now for cheap. And it was so good. It was a cutesy contemporary, but it also had a lot more depth than I was expecting. And that was a really, really nice part of it. And I wasn't expecting the depth, but I gladly took it. And Huntley Fitzpatrick really ran with the idea, and it was so good. It's about a girl who becomes infatuated with her next door neighbor, and then when a crisis happens, she really finds out who she is and who her family is and who the people she really trusts are. And I feel like that's such a real thing, and it's so true to life and true to everyone, that anyone can relate to this, even if you're not in love with your next door neighbor kind of thing. And it is so well written. I kept finding myself nodding along, like, yeah, I feel that way too, about all these different issues and topics, and it's so good. I would 100% recommend picking it up, even if you have to pay the full price. I wish I would have done it before, because it's so, so good. And then finally, I have sort of a different thing. It is a contemporary, but it is also a holiday contemporary. And I have Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Michael. These are 3 short stories by each of the authors, and they're so good. I read them every Thanksgiving because it's just one of my favorite things ever. I adore these authors, and I adore this book. It's all these little cutesy little winter romances. One is about a girl who seems to have the perfect life until she finds out her boyfriend isn't all that perfect and ends up walking home with a stranger and falling in love. The second is about 2 best friends who go to a Waffle House in the middle of a snowstorm. One's about a girl who cheated on her boyfriend and coming to forgive and coming to realize that. And they're all interconnected, which is super cool. Like, the first story, she meets one of the characters from the 3rd story. And then there's the snowstorm that's happening all around because they all live kind of like in the same town, and it's so cool. They all mention things that are interweaved, and it's just super fun to read. I adore John Green and Maureen Johnson. I've never read anything by Lauren Michael, but I'm sure she's wonderful because I like her short story. And yeah, that is my top 5 contemporary reads. I love contemporary books. I read more than just contemporary books, but I love a good contemporary book here and there. I think they're so special. Give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, and tell me what your favorite contemporary books are below, and I will see you next time. Bye! I really like this lighting.